Yeah, obviously, the game was everything, that we expected it to be. Credit St. John's. I mean, that their defense is real. Um, the pressure they put on you, the physicality, the switching. Their ability to rotate and scramble. And then obviously the physicality and. We've been playing with fire. We were fortunate to win at Marquette, with 25 turnovers and able to mitigate that by some serious shot making. But we've been playing with fire, and the 22 turnovers, the 47 in the last two games is just really low level. And if you would have told me we'd be plus 10 on the backboard. I would have said to you that we would have won the game. But you give up basically 18 free points off turnovers, and then you get outscored in transition 12-6. You're basically in the free points category there. You're minus 22, and that's you're not going to win games versus teams as good as St. John's is this year doing that.
Dan, is there something that sticks out to you about the turnovers the past two games, other than the fact that obviously you're playing against two really good teams?
Well, I just think it's matchups too. Some of it is just Marquette's defensive style is pressure and athleticism, and they get into you. And St. John's does similar things, except they're even more physical. I mean, they're way stronger than we are, just across the board physically. But I just think Hassan is hobbled. Hassan is hobbled. I don't think that we're a great dribbling team overall. Just across the perimeter. And then we don't really have a backup point guard that we're comfortable with. So really, like a hobbled Hassan is at 34 minutes is right now our best option. But then there were some really bad, stupid ones too that occurred, like Tarris, running the guy over, or I think that probably 60% of those were forced. 40% of them were like low-level basketball.
I know you focus on your team, but how good is that team you just played? And can they go deep in March? You've been deep in March as far as you can go.
Yeah. I mean, they got a little bit of like a Houston type of vibe to the way that they play, the defense, the rebounding. Luis is a pro. Kadari's playing himself into, a pro this year. I love Smith as a player. Smith's a tremendous player. He's working his way back from injury. The tremendous center play. I mean, they got a formidable team. I mean, right now, it looks like them and Creighton right now look like maybe the two best teams in this league. But they're a formidable team.
Dan, what did you like from Liam? Obviously, he had to knock some rust off, but it seemed like he took initiative down the stretch and was the one making things happen.
I think what killed us in the first half, I think, obviously Liam knocking off some rust. Liam got some great looks. Alex got some great looks in the first half. I mean, if we make a couple of those, you're going into halftime with a cushion. Obviously, you had 10 turnovers at halftime as well. But I thought Alex had four great looks in the first half that would have kept that game at 9, at 12. And for Liam's going to make I don't know what we're going to do about obviously just the point guard situation with Hassan's health and the lack of answers that we have there. But I think this was a tough game to return to for Liam. And it's going to take him a game or two to get rolling. But he's 18 and 11, and the second half in that type of game, was impressive.
Do you think Alex got a little gun shy after you missed those shots and didn't really take charge maybe the way you would have liked towards the end of the game?
I just thought, Alex is, Alex is such a smart player and he's such a perfectionist, and I think, it's everything he's done with his resume. He doesn't really, owe any of us or UConn anything with what he's been able to deliver here. But I want to see him fire. I mean, you got to go out on your shield, and there were threes I think he should have fired, and opportunities that he should have pressed, and you just you got to be willing. You got to be willing in games like this to go 3 for 14 and be like, you know what, F it. F it. Like, I went for it. I came up short. I'll deal with whatever criticism or whatever social media says. But yeah, I mean, Alex got to take 12 or 13 shots in that game there, and but he's such a smart player, and he's trying to get better shots. But one of the things we talked about going into this game was their defense was so good. You're going to be shooting in tighter windows, and the longer that you pass up like a decent look versus that defense, you're going to end up with a worse shot or a late shot clock turnover.
Coach, you talked about not a great dribbling team.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm right here, Coach. Behind the camera. Sorry.
Hi.
How you doing? You talked about lack of dribbling and not having a great backup position at point guard. Do you feel like their defense disrupted your freedom of movement, and there was a concerted effort, it looks like, to take it to the hole a little bit more in the second half? Can you talk about that?
Well, I think switching everything, which they do, and they do it great, and then they scramble. So, they switch on ball, they switch off ball, they pick up, they press. So I just think we're obviously much better against teams that are going to guard you conventionally. It's easier for us to, we're a team that's reliant on getting shots for our players based on a lot of the things that we run, and switching affects that a lot. But I just think. Just the 47 turnovers in 2 games. I mean, it's now again, I'll credit their defense, but then there's going to be, some there where we're getting defensive rebounds and throwing the ball, bizarre outlet passes that they're stealing. I mean, just some just undisciplined stuff that we're doing that. Makes you feel like you're not coaching your team well when you have 47 turnovers 2 games in a row. You feel like a shitty coach.
Dan, does Liam's second half give you some optimism going forward, just because he played so hard and
listen, this was bad. I mean, we've lost 2 in a row at Gampel, where we've been unbeatable. There's a lot, I think. We got to get Alex going. Liam's gonna. This was a great game to knock the rust off. Obviously, Solo. Solo's been off some. Obviously tough sledding in the second half with getting looks, and when he got him, a couple rimmed out. We got to find a way to to try to get Hassan healthy. I thought Tarris battled with 12 and 15. Sampson, it was a tough night for Sampson. I'm optimistic. I mean, these last 2 matchups have just been bad matchups for us. I mean, teams that pressure you, while we're dealing with some of the issues that we have at point guard, both health-wise and just in general struggling. I'm very optimistic. I think right now is a really good time to play us. I think we've got a chance in February to kind of get this thing rolling and be looking a lot different in March. But again, 47 turnovers in the last 2 games. Like, we're lucky we went 1-1.
Dan, yesterday you said Hassan's, what he's dealing with is something he's going to have to keep dealing with for the rest of the year. Do you have any sort of clarity on what that injury is? Was it the knee soreness?
Well, he's dealing with a knee, and So he's not practicing between, which is an issue for him because obviously there becomes a problem in terms of being sharp. Ahmad Noel has been out for a while with his ankle, and then Liam's been limited. Aiden's been out, with the knee that he suffered in the beginning of the week. So, we've been a little bit banged up. I don't know that that's the total reason, why we're in the position we're in with the 47 turnovers. But, we got to just find a way to get healthy. I mean, does that mean, we've got to sit Hassan for a week or two and try to hold down the fort and see if we can get him back? We got to, make some decisions medically, because what we're doing right now, it's not working.
Over here to your right, in an era of like shot quality and all that stuff, is it odd or uncomfortable to defend a team that is taking mid-range and long twos and all these things?
Yeah, I mean, again, if you would have said for me, because we've been a bad defensive team, you kind of, we had the people shooting threes for them that we wanted shooting threes for them. They're Luis, those guys are shooting, those middies, and, they're very proficient at it. But it's obviously it's a shot that you could, I guess, kind of live with. It'll be interesting the next time we play them. But they're unique. They're a unique team that way. I mean, I think what's made them so great in Big East play is obviously the physicality. One of the best defenses in the country, and obviously an awesome rebounding team.
They kind of go against like a lot of the instinctual things that you spend all year teaching of like when to close out, when to let a guy, like when to stop a guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they, this was a huge paint, game for us versus them. I think, like Luis and Richmond got like a couple of like deeper paint, 8 to 10 footers, which aren't okay, but those 15 to 17 footers, you're, I guess kind of as a defense, you kind of don't mind, but then, these guys are really, proficient with it. So, yeah, Brendan. I don't know how I feel about it. But again, like, if you would have told me we'd out-rebound those guys by 10, I would have said, what are you on? What are you drinking or what are you drugging? Because it's just to go plus 10 on the glass, was mitigated by being minus 22 in transition points. Transition defense sucked, and the points off turnovers killed us.
I think Ahmad looked like he was warming up before the game. Is he closer to returning? And when that does happen, can he be a guy who can help you out more at the point, or is he, freshman obviously being thrown in there? Can he help you out a little bit with Hassan's struggles? And
yeah, I mean, just between him and Aiden, we obviously need something there. They both have had opportunities during the year. Ahmad's obviously missed time. He's got to get, to full health, or, we've got to figure out that position, or the rest of the year is going to be a real struggle.
Dan, Liam having the ball so often down the stretch, how much of that is just him demanding it, and how much of it is you and your staff directing the team to get him the ball versus instead of any other player?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ball was. I think number one, I think Liam is attracted to the ball because he wants the ball. Some of it was, or I would say it probably maybe 50-50 split of, in terms of people that looked confident or competent with the ball. At that point, it didn't feel like there were a lot of other options for us. So we've got to figure that out. But again, I credit. There's not a lot of defenses that we're going to play against, and I do think that their defense, with the pressure, with the switching, and with how great a job they do with it, it's a tough matchup for the way that we play. But we've got to find other people that are able to put the ball in their hands in space and can just go and create. It's hard to script out actions the entire game. We need guys to be able to win more one-on-ones and go make plays in space and do things more off script and that's obviously a strength for Liam.
At the end, and did you just feel a lot better than you did in the first half, more confident?
I feel like I had confidence in the first half, but shots just weren't falling. But the bench and coaches were just telling me to keep shooting it, so that's what I was doing.
How did it feel just to be back generally and be on the court? How much are you looking forward to playing with your team the rest of the season?
It's a blessing to be back. I didn't realize how much I was going to miss it until I did. It's definitely a blessing to be back, and I'm very happy to be back out there, but I'm not happy anymore.
What made your defense so difficult to run your offense against, especially in transition with the pressure?
All 5 guys that got on the court, they can all guard. They can all guard on the perimeter, so it's hard to get paint touches, and that's where we strive. We can dump off to the bigs or kick out for threes, and we weren't able to do that tonight.
Tarris, how tough is it physicality? Pretty hard for it.
First, I gotta thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, put me in this position. But it's the Big East, very different from the Big Ten. So going out there, knowing they're a rebounding team, going out and testing that theory. So that was really it.
Liam, how confident are you that you can make a big impact here down the stretch so that there's plenty of reason for optimism?
Well, losses happen. Nobody's going to go through a loss or go through a season without a loss. This program has had a lot of success in the past couple years, really, since it's been a program. So the foundation, they know how to keep moving forward and eventually figure it out, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to figure it out.
In terms of Haas is hurt, and clearly everyone can see that. How does that impact your team, him kind of hobbling around on the court?
Haas is a warrior, and he gave his all tonight, and I don't know what else we can ask from him.